Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in this session. And it's Pranav from the product management team of Vembu, who will be the host for you throughout the session today. And this is completely a webinar. It's a live webinar organized by Team BDRShield regarding the awareness that we wish to create among our users. So this webinar is going to talk more about building a zero compromise backup and disaster recovery strategy for the year 2026. So let me explain the ground rules of this webinar first. Attendees will all be in the listen only mode. And if at all you have any questions, you can post it in the QA box, which is nearby. So one of our, the co-hosts will answer your questions, will address your questions. If there's any questions that is left out, we couldn't address it, then do not worry. We'll be sending you an email with the answers for the question. Okay. So most of it, we'll try to cover it in this session by itself. But if there's something that is left out, but do not worry, you'll have this answered through the mail. And also this session recording, as I said previously, will be available in our website after 48 hours. So you can even check out this recording of the webinar for the year 2026. So start on with, I hope everyone had a great year last year. And this year, I wish everyone to have a great year again for this year. For the year 2026, let all your wishes come true. Let all your, maybe like all your dreams or your achievements be higher. That's something that we want to wish from the team of Vembu to you all. And let's jump into the session again. So this is gonna be a theoretical session initially, where you'll have some of the presentations explaining you or justifying why we chose a topic on building a zero compromise backup and DR strategy for the year 2026. And later off of the session, I'll be showing you the console of our BDRShield just to have a glimpse, but to have an clearer detail of the each and every features or the product line, please always reach out to our sales team so that they can guide you, or they provide you a demonstration. They can arrange for a one-on-one demonstration. That is how we take things forward. Okay, so here we are. So before I start, I see a lot of new attendees who have joined in. So to give them an introduction about us, we have the Vembu Technologies here. So Vembu Technologies is a backup and disaster recovery OEM who has been in this market for more than 2 decades. And we have our footsteps in 100+ countries with 4,000+ global partner base around the globe. And our vision or mission, I would say, is to provide an enterprise class scalable backup and disaster recovery solution for the users at a cost-effective price range. So thus we limited ourselves, or our focus, or main focus was only towards cost effectiveness of the enterprise class or scalable product, and that we focused majorly on the SMB market. It doesn't mean the product doesn't support the enterprises, but this product is more favorable for SMBs and MSPs around the globe. Okay, there's a lot more that I wanted to discuss, but let's justify why this session has been organized after the introduction that I gave. So all these years, maybe like for the year 2024 to 2025, these are some of the awards and recognitions that we as a team won across the the reviewing site, you have G2, you have Trust Radius, and you have the Peer Spot, and there's also a CSG award which we won. So these are some awards and recognitions that were given by the users to us. So that keeps us on top, and we are happy getting this recognition from the users. Now, these are some of the trusted global brands who've been using software. So it is not like this solution is something new to the market. We have been in this business for 2 decades, and these are some of the giants in the market who've been using our solution all these days. Okay. So to the topic on zero compromise. So let's literally more like no more tolerable range that I can have. So what is that? Why the zero compromise backup and DR matters in the 2026? So this is very important, and that is why we chose this topic to start off with the year. And obviously you'll have a monthly webinar as such coming up as a general topic explaining how BDRShield satisfies that general topic. So in this case, this zero compromise, why does it matter for the year 2026? Because there are more distributed, hybrid, and attack-prone IT environments than ever. So when you compare the year 2024-2025, the rate of attacks have gained a larger scale, and that is what we expect would be happening even in 2026, because there are a lot of data playing around even after the introduction of artificial intelligence and much more things. So there are a lot of data which is playing a major role in this situation. So that is why we wanted to have the zero compromise section. So what are that, though it is distributed environment type, what is that happening? Point is, the ransomware, initially it was targeting the normal files or any particular computer, but now hackers are becoming smarter. They started to target the backups first and not the production. Okay, so if there is something a user tries to secure, the hacker's mindset is to break down the security to gain his own reward. Okay, so they are making it more challenging. They're literally trying to challenge themselves. The hackers are trying to challenge themselves. So they wanted to hit upon the backups. Whenever an organization tries to configure a backup, they wanted to hit upon the backups first and then the production unit. So that is how it has moved on. It has shifted. Initially it was a production unit, and when you have a backup, you already have an alternate solution. But now the hackers directly hit on the backup unit than the production unit, which is at the later. So this, what happens is, it's spinning the market. Now there's also a problem which is coming in. Downtime tolerance is no longer acceptable. Okay, so it is like people would say like I would have taken the backup to a tape or a tape drive or something, a disk drive. So they don't want this the legacy to for the restore to take around 1 day or 2 day downtime. No one is ready to give that downtime. So the downtime tolerance is completely shrinking. Every business want to ensure their best with ready state recoveries or best effort of recovery. So that is what is mentioned as downtime tolerance is shrinking. And now come on, lot of compliances, my dear friends. So even the audits, the IT audits or cyber insurance compliance have now started to demand for approvable recovery. It is not that you just take a backup. They also request you to prove that the data is secure and it can be immediately recovered at any point of time. So that is why this zero compromise on backup and DR matters has gained its focus throughout the digital world. Okay. The main takeaway I would say is in 2026, backup and DR is not about just having a backup, but it is about the guaranteed recovery with no blind spots. So that is where everyone has started to focus on. Maybe I can take this as a trend which is around the market. Okay. Now I saw why zero compromise. Now I just need to understand what the zero compromise means in a backup and disaster recovery. Okay. So previously we saw why zero compromise in 2026. Now we need to see what the zero compromise means. What, just make sure why this is needed, or that is what it actually needs, or what does this mean. Okay. Now in that case, what is a question mark for zero compromise? I would say if something breaks or gets encrypted or disappears, you should be able to recover every time. Okay, so that is something what the zero compromise is trying to say, and maybe just I would say that is what we are trying to say, but let's look deep of what it has. Okay, so the zero compromise is no single point of failure is what it expects. That is no point of failure both on storage, on the point of infrastructure or the management. Okay, so no compromise, or I would say no single point of failure should be there. No unprotected workloads. Now it is an audit regulation even in India. People are more trying to be secured. Okay, so they don't want even one single workload out of their office to be unprotected. So there's no tolerance on unprotected workloads. It could be your servers, endpoints, your SaaS applications, your cloud VMs, or your on-prem VMs, or whatever it is. Your data has to be protected. Now, no one can claim that your data is in cloud so that it is protected, or you host something in cloud so that it is protected. No. Every workload has to be protected. So that is where your zero compromise comes in. No tolerance comes in. Now, there's another one, the recovery uncertainty. Okay. So now when the zero compromise comes in, there is no recovery uncertainty. You can't claim that. It literally means like you should be able to recover any point in time. Okay. So no uncertainties during the recovery. When your backup is good, no one is concerned about the backup. They only concern about the recovery. When when you're not able to recover a data, but still you have a backup, there's no point. So that is why no recovery uncertainty comes in. So you should have a tested recovery. It should be verified, and it should have a predictable RTO than the RPO. Okay, so recovery time objective should be very predictable when it comes to the recovery uncertainty. Okay, so that is where your zero compromise comes in. And another one is no security gaps. The people are very, very concerned about this. No security on immutability. So you should ensure there's data immutability that undergoes a warm concept, where it can be written once. The data, when it is written once and read many times, it should not affect the main data. Okay, so the immutability is a major concern. Your data should be end-to-end encrypted. That's very much thing that every customer out there concerns of. And even they took about the compression, but I'm not sure why the compression wasn't added. But this is a whole term. Encryption and compression are the whole terms together. They go together, more like a twins. And then you have access control. So whom should you provide the exact access? Like role-based access control, that's very important. Not everyone should be able to log into the console, but still they should be able to see what they do, but not do the activities like an admin does. Okay, that's something majorly concerned about. Yeah, that's the key takeaways that you have on zero compromise. What does a zero compromise goes with? Fine. So we just saw why the zero compromise has come in, because of the trend which is revolving around, and what the zero compromise really mean. So these two goes hand in hand. When those goes, you also have something which is coming up. How to eliminate, maybe like mentioned as in the term, eliminating single points of failure and backup issues which is reoccurring. So let's see what are all the real-time failure points and the zero compromise fixes for that. Okay, so it is, though we know what is the issue, we understood the trend, we understood what that really means, we should be able to point out the real-time examples and how that could be fixed. So that is why this slide is brought about. Now here you have the real-time failure points in one sector, and you have the zero compromise fixes on the other sector for the same. So if there is a backup, say server failure, or that is literally meaning like all backups are inaccessible. Okay, so when the backups are inaccessible, you can't restore your data. But that is why there is a fix, like you should have a multiple recovery paths. So you maybe like you can have a copy of the data, like multiple copies, which I would say, or something on-prem, something on cloud, or even an offsite. So multiple recovery paths that could suppress your backup inaccessibility. Okay. Next, the real-time failure point is disk or cloud-only strategy. So this just either of the one, disk only or cloud only, either of the one choice, then one ransomware event is away. That's literally like, maybe not today, but somewhere down the week you will be affected. So don't just have one copy either on a disk or cloud only strategy. Okay, so this should be if you are gonna have something like that, make sure you have an automated health check of the disk or the cloud, or even the alerts when there is a huge change of things coming in or new things coming in. There should be alerts to be enabled. Okay, so the disk or cloud only strategy is not going to be wholesome one, but just ensure that you have an automated health checks on the disk, because what if the disk is corrupted by some other means, not just by attack, but some other means as well. So that is why we say just go for an automated health checks and alerts, so that even the data that you have taken a back, secure to store the data in your storage. Next, unmonitored backup jobs, or that if you're not monitoring, this literally means like you have to monitor all your backup jobs at regular intervals. Okay, so if there is an unmonitored backup, just most of the backups are just schedule and forget. It's automated backups, mostly incremental backup. So unmonitored backup jobs, it will lead to silent backup failures, because you might not know what backups have been failed, or once a day when you try to open your console, try restoring the previous day, like the maybe like 11:56 a.m. IST now. So you wanted to restore data at 10 a.m. IST, and you literally find that 10 a.m. is a failure. Then you literally have the failure tracked up till 2 days before. So that becomes your failure. So if you have a monitored backup jobs daily, that would be good. So it is based on policy. So how can you fix this? It's policy-based retention and replication. So you just ensure you have a proper policy retained, and all these backups, you have a frequent check of these backups from a single dashboard or institute dashboard, or some alerts and details that might also help you at this point. Okay, next, manual process, human error during recovery. I totally agree. So if there is a manual process, maybe like deleting something which is unusual, I believe, I'm sorry, that is a change actually. This is across words. Like I would say, like backup server failure, if all backups are inaccessible, you obviously have an uh, you know all backups inaccessible. You should have a centralized visibility across all backups. So this is something that is popping up on our across by side. So all backups inaccessible, yes, you should have a centralized visibility across all backups. And if you say like this cloud only strategy, that is one ransomware event away, then you should have a multiple recovery paths on-prem or cloud offsite you should have. So this is something which is jungled enough, but these are some of the fixes that comes in, but I'll let you know on straight path. So if there is a disk or cloud only strategy, you should have multiple recovery paths to restore your data. Now, unmonitored backup jobs, you should ensure automated health checks and alerts so that it gives you proper detailing and alerts. So that's what comes in. And manual process, which is like human error or something that occurs, but make sure you have a policy driven retention and replication so that it keeps everything single point and tied. Okay, so this is actually something should come top. So this comes literally across, but literally this is the term. What I'm trying to say over here is these are the real-time failures and these are the real-time fixes. So all backup, if it is inaccessible, make sure you have a centralized visibility for all backups. And if there is only disk only or cloud only strategy, like either of the storage that you choose to go with, never do that. Have multiple recovery paths. You should have one copy on-prem, one copy on cloud, offsite. All that will be the best fix. If there is anything unmonitored backup jobs like silent backup failures, I would say you should have an automated health checks at regular intervals that also gives you a proper alert. So this would satisfy the this pain point. And a manual process or human error during the recovery. So that's should be cut short through a policy-based retention. Okay, so a policy-based retention and replication would ensure that manual process of human error it's cut short. So this jungled enough, but anyways, when I'm gonna add this presentation in your in our website, I'll make sure this is properly arranged, but this is how this goes with. Okay, it's parallel. Okay, I believe I've just given you the detail. And next for the slide, let's what is that security policy driven backup at a scale? What does it mean? Why do I need to design a secure and policy driven backups at a scale? Because that is where I can control on the manual human error, the silent backup failures, as well as the the disk or cloud strategy. So to cut short on this, all these 3 points together is what is being explained here. Okay, so the backups should be policy driven, not an admin driven. So it should not be a manual one, it should be an automated one. It should be automated. So you should have a proper policy, like proper RPO to be set, how frequently you want the backups to be done. You should have a proper retention policy, so that helps you to achieve easy restore and ensure business continuity. So that should be there. So that's how your policy driven goes in, and it should not be admin driven. Never go with an admin driven to do the backup jobs manually. Just keep it automated. Now, consistent across. So for where it should be consistent, it could be around the physical and virtual servers. It could be consistent across the endpoints. It should be consistent across all your SaaS workloads and cloud data. So these are the consistent points that the policy driven has to be maintained or ensured. Okay, so that is how you design a secure policy. So how do I secure it? That's by default, it should have an AES 256-bit encryption and also compression. I just go with the term to add also compression to it. It should have a multi-factor access, multi-factor access and role-based access control. And the data, where you store the data, should be immutable, or you can opt for a warm storage. So these three are the major points that should be by default. After some of the features that you're going to add into it is something which is extra, but I'll say these three are the major ones that you need to concentrate on. So it doesn't mean that every workload follows the same protection rules. So you should not have guesswork on it. So make sure if there is something that you wanted to follow for all the workloads, that is well and good. That same protection rules with expectations, that's all well and good. But still, you can, design a flow pattern or protection rules for each and every workload based on the criticality of the workload. So that is very important. So based on the criticality of the workload, that is where you design a policy, and that is literally what we're trying to bring in this slide. Okay, now there are some ransomware readiness with guaranteed recovery. So those have been listed here. So that is, on the one side you have ransomware ready backup and DR, and the other side what are the key capabilities that are expected. So when I say, when not me, maybe on the trend of the world says backups cannot be deleted or modified, in such a case, then you need to choose a immutable backup or a warm-based storage or immutable storage. So that comes in first. Attackers cannot access the backup infra. So make sure you deploy the infra in an air-gapped solution, and it should be also having an isolated storage, maybe within a bubble, so that no external forces or speakers could just speak through what you're doing. So make sure that if you want this to be secured, then you should ensure this is expected from your end. Clean recovery points are always available. That's majorly for the rapid restore options. Okay, so when you require a clean recovery points, make sure you rapid restore ensures that file, image, or VM level, whatever it is, you'll have a rapid restore option. Recovery has to be tested. So it is not like recovery is tested, not assumed. It is, I'm making it a point, recovery must be tested. Make sure you have a clear drill schedule for that. So that key capabilities will ensure clear recovery workflows under pressure. So even during when you have a proper drill consumed, then obviously you will have a clear recovery workflows even during at times of pressure or disaster. I would say at times of disaster, you will be able to perform a cleaner recovery than any other readiness that I can ensure. So this is majorly what ransomware readiness will guarantee you during your recovery. So because I said it is no more backups that people concentrate on, it's only on the recovery and how fast you can restore your data. That's where the trend trends now for the year 2026. Okay, now all that set forth. Now what does the BDRShield has in it? Let's bring in some limelight for the BDRShield now. This BDRShield by Vembu is a product that we offer. I'll talk about that in detail, but let's see how that is controlling things. So BDRShield by Vembu has a centralized management console, both for on-prem as well as for cloud. So people who say that they wanted to have this in an air-gapped environment, they don't have to worry. You still have an centralized management. And people who say that they can't afford to deploy the backup software by themselves, then they can choose our cloud. So that's why it is. And that's a centralized management again over there. And you have a unified visibility onto your backup health as well as your recovery readiness. So those two are something that BDRShield offers by hand in hand. You have a policy-based automation for all your backup frequency scheduling. That's we provide an incremental type of backup. So obviously backup scheduling comes in, and you have a proper retention policies, both basic as well as GFS type of retention for archival purposes, and even some of the security detailing, like more like the data when it is stored in our own patented file system format. You have the data to be compressed, encrypted both end to end. Yeah, that comes on the next. So you have an immutable, encrypted, and compliant storage options. Storage options, when you choose our cloud storage, obviously you can enjoy all these three options, but rest of the storages which you are going to choose, maybe like you can ensure that these details are enabled. But what I am trying to say over here is in BDRShield, the data is already encrypted and compressed. So it's an end-to-end encryption, both at the flight as well as at the rest. Compliant, it helps you to comply with the international standards, because the data is something, the backup data is something where you store. So you as a user can choose where you want to store the data. So we don't restrict your freedom over there to mention that you have to store the data only in our storage. That leaves you with a question mark. No, we just give you the freedom. But make sure if your data, you're storing it in immutable storage, and our product supports immutable storage as well. Okay, both in cloud as well as we also support immutable storage for Linux hardened storages. Next, proven recovery workloads for real world incidents. Okay, so maybe I would say here is where the health also comes in. So you should have multiple recovery options and instant recovery options, as well as recovery readiness. We have something called as data integrity check. It's more like a sandbox. For all your image level backups, it will mount the data, boot the data, and take the screenshot of the data, calling it as recovery readiness. So if that screenshot shows that the boot is successful, you can try restoring the data and continue your business. Okay, so that is where you can check. And this is an automated process called as data integrity check, which is a 3-tier check. Mount first, boot, and then data integrity check. 3 goes in 1. Okay, so the outcome over here is, it is not about just taking a backup again, which I previously said. It is how you recover with confidence. So that's very important. Okay, now since I put some light on BDRShield, let's dive deep into the product now. So how can I manage the BDRShield? Okay, so BDRShield, as I said, there are 2 management consoles. One is on-prem management console. That is for people who choose to go with self-hosted deployments, air-gapped isolated environments, or strict compliance requirements, such as defense organization, government organizations. They can, or some of the enterprises, they say they'll host the backup software themselves, they'll control managing everything from their end, and they'll choose their own storage. For them, the BDRShield on-prem management console would be the best suited choice. We have both Windows installer as well as the Ubuntu installer for the purpose. We also have a Docker Ubuntu installer for another usage. Okay. On the other hand, for people who say, like SMBs or MSPs, who say they can't afford to have a separate BDRShield hosted at their end, I would say, why don't you choose to go with our cloud management console? Okay, so that's a recommended one, where the user can choose a cloud console, try signing up to it. There's no maintenance and hardware involved in it, so nothing to worry. And he can access that console from anywhere at any time. He can protect his entities, every entities from one single console again, and you can store your data anywhere. There's no restriction that you need to store it only in our cloud. Using our cloud's console, you can try taking a backup and store the data for your endpoint servers, NAS, and even the virtual machines. If you're trying to take a backup, you can just store it in your own storage. That could be a local storage, that is an on-prem storage, or it could be your own cloud storage. And if those two options are not satisfactory or something that you don't have, you can choose to even store it in our cloud storage. So literally you have three such options for our cloud management console. Whereas on-prem, you'll get to store in your own storage only, because it's for a self-hosted and air-gapped environment. So you have to choose to go with your own storage. So these are the two management consoles to manage centrally all your backups, your restore, your reporting, your replication, everything from one single console. Now, what are the workloads that you can secure using the BDRShield? I said it is a diverse IT environment, and I also mentioned a point like any workload, maybe based on the criticality, but you can't now compromise saying that I don't want this workload to be secure. No, you have to secure all the workloads. So even a single loop corner which is tweaking out will help a hacker from outside to peek through what you have. So it is better that you secure all your workloads. It could be your endpoints of Windows, Linux, or Mac. It could be your servers of Windows, Linux. It could be your virtual machines of VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox, KVM over it. It could be your databases like SQL, PostgreSQL, MySQL, Oracle DB via Amen. It could be your SaaS applications of Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace. It could be your cloud instances such as AWS EC2 instance and Azure VMs. It could even be your NAS storage or the file share. So all these are something that we try taking a backup with the BDRShield, both by the on-prem as well as the cloud management consoles. Okay. As of now, in the cloud management console, we support endpoints, servers. We're going to support VMs as well, majorly the VMware and Hyper-V. And we already support SaaS backups to it and a NAS backup to it. We'll be supporting cloud VMs and databases soon by the end of this quarter, okay, in our cloud console. Okay, so talked about what I secure using the BDRShield. Now we'll talk about where I can store the data, both on-prem as well as for the cloud. For on-prem, it is only that you can store your data in your on-prem storages. That could be a directly attached storage or any of your network drives like NAS or SAN or any storage appliances. Now, for archival, maybe you can use tape, but it's actually disk to tape model that we support in on-premises storage. On the other hand, we also support your own cloud. You can add your own cloud as your storage repository. That could be your Amazon S3 bucket or Azure Blob bucket, Google Cloud, any of your S3 compatibles such as Wasabi, MinIO, Blackblaze, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so these two, your own storages, or both on-prem as well as for the cloud, is supported in the BDRShield on-prem management console. Okay, when you go for the BDRShield cloud management console, along with these two options of your own storage, the user can also choose to use our cloud storage to store his data. That's BDRShield Cloud by Vembu. Okay, cloud storage by Vembu. So when he is using our cloud console, he can try also to store his data in our cloud. Okay, so that's a third option, and it doesn't restrict the user to store his data in his own storage like on-prem storage or cloud. It's just an option that he gets in the cloud storage, a cloud console is our storage. Okay, next, let's have a solution overview. So all these which I mentioned so far, regarding the trends and what is the zero tolerance that we can have for the year 2026, the BDRShield as a product meets up with that, with that requirements. Okay, and a lot more are the features that we are going to include into the BDRShield as well. So in such a note, I have a solution overview of the BDRShield, which includes file folder level backups for all your Windows, Linux, Mac, or NAS. It could be your server operating system or your endpoint operating system. We'll have this file and folder level backup, which is granular level backup by its mean. We also have Disk image level backup. So that is a complete system state of the Windows operating system. So it could either be your endpoints or the servers that could be taken a backup. You have an API based SaaS backup that's for the Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace, in which we try taking a backup of the user mailbox, which includes the mails, contacts, calendars, OneDrive in case of Microsoft 365 and Google Drive in case of Google Workspace. Apart from this, in Microsoft 365, we support group mailbox, that's OneDrive and group mailbox. You can back up your SharePoint online, you can back up your Teams, you can back up your public folders as well for Microsoft 365. Even the archived mailbox of Microsoft 365 for a particular user can be taken back. Okay. And for Google Workspace, apart from the user mailbox, we also support taking a backup of the shared mailbox. Okay. Next, you have agentless VM level backup. So for all the VMs or virtual environments, we support agentless VM level backup with application aware processing as well, which includes VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox, KVM, and Overit. Okay, so those are VM level backups that we have. Then we have agentless cloud instance backup. It is cloud VM or cloud instance. So this is again an API based call. So that is why I'm proudly saying it is an agentless cloud VM backup, which includes a backup of AWS instance and Azure VMs as well. Okay. Then you have a granular level of backup by installing an agent on the database machines that in order to take a granular backup of the database of Microsoft SQL, MySQL, and PostgreSQL, we have the support from the BDRShield itself. Okay. Now, all that I said is regarding the BDRShield, how it satisfies your environment, and how this BDRShield comes into a limelight for all the issues or maybe like the concerns that we raise for the 2026 on regards to zero compromise, okay, or zero tolerance, something of that sort. Now let's see how this BDRShield is suitable for the MSPs, because we also have a lot of MSPs in the attendees list. So for them, we have some of the details. Like one is centralized management console, that is again sorted out. Multi-tenancy, so you can have multiple clients managed from one single console. So, but still, one client will not be able to see what another client has configured for backup, and he can't restore their data. Okay, so there's a digital virtual wall between each of their clients, and for the clients you can provide a role-based access control. So only when the client has the recovery privilege, he can restore his data. Other than that, he can just read through the reports. That's it. So that's something that we have in multi-tenancy. We have a branding feature. So wherever you see the MSPs or the value-added resellers, I would say. So wherever you see our logo, you can change it to your logo. Or wherever you see a company name, you can change it to yours. Your product name can be yours again. Favy icon, you want to change it, or any of the initial contact or support details that is displayed on the console can be changed to yours. Okay. We provide a web services API. So that's for the automation, majorly for on-premises. So that you can use, these APIs can be used for customization of reports as well as for the automation purposes. It's a flexible licensing model. You don't have the complexity of having multiple editions here. As far as BDRShield is concerned, it's a complete enterprise edition. So there's no multiple editions that comes into play. And we support both subscription as well as perpetual licensing models, so that is not a worry at all. And there's no package or universal licensing scheme here. There's no minimum and maximum. You can go up to anything. It is per workload basis. That is how we charge. So you can also enjoy, MSPs can enjoy a monthly billing as well, and it's a pay as you go pricing. So the pricing is pay as you go for the cloud storage and all. And whatever the entity that you newly brought, if you want to secure that, you can purchase a license for that separately, no problem. And there's a major partner portal from where MSPs can control your customers under that, manage the accounts, manage their billings, manage their licenses and pricing, everything from that console. Okay, so that's where this BDRShield has an edge of advantage for the MSPs in our solution itself. Okay, let me talk about the core value of proportion. But before that I start on, I would say the first core value of proportion is this is a made in India product for the world. Though we have been in this business for more than 2 decades, we are made in India. We have our base headquarters in India because um, uh, Vembu Technologies is based out in south of India, which is Chennai. Okay, so that is a major one, I would say. And what are all other core value of proportion? One is it is an all-in-one backup platform. So all your endpoints, all your entities that you can manage from one single console. You can store your backup anywhere. You have a centralized management console, both for cloud as well as for the self-hosted one. You have ransomware protection features like immutable backups, 3-to-1 backup policy, pre-postscript, and anomaly detection, which is also will be added soon. You have a MSP friendly features like multi-tenancy, co-branding, integration with API tools, and those details. Cost effectiveness, which is significant for both MSPs, SMBs, because this is an SMB. This is a product which is built for SMBs at a cost-effective price range. So, compared to any competitors in the market, you will have a good edge of us providing, and we are the direct OEMs by themselves. There's only one addition which I already said, and you have a 24/7 support, and that is why all these recognition and awards that we got it previously on the previous years is because of the 24/7 support that we provide, and a flexible licensing model like subscription and perpetual, because there are a lot competitors who is cutting short on the perpetual licensing, but still we have that perpetual licensing, and there's no universal package type of licensing. It's just as a, like, if you want to purchase for one endpoint, you can just purchase for one endpoint. That's a major core value when I compare with any other competitors in the market. Now, all these are people, all these minutes, people were so patient enough to hear to my words. But what is a final takeaway which I would say for this whole webinar, like without any trade-off? I would say zero compromise is a strategy for the future, that 2026 on the feature basis. Okay, so that means I would say you should be non-tolerant. You don't compromise or adjust to whatever comes in your way. So zero compromise is a strategy, not the feature. Okay, security, resilience, and recoverability should be working together. So that is why the tag name of BDRShield comes with cyber resilience. Okay, so security, resilience, and recoverability should be all together working. Only then you can ensure a proper recovery and a backup. And backup success is measured by recovery outcomes, as I said. So only when you are able to recover your data at the particular timestamp, not leaving you under a disaster, that ensuring business continuity is where your real success of the backup relies. Okay, then you have to design a proper platform, a proper policy, design a policy so that you don't have to choose between the cost, control, or security. Okay, so these are something which is by common. The control and security should be by default with you. Okay, the security should be highly secured because you're going for a backup solution and DR solution, so obviously it should be highly secure. Okay, so these are the major takeaways, I would say, for the product which we started. And for BDRShield, we have a 30 days of free trial, so you can evaluate the product from that. And I would love to show you the console. Okay, so just bear with me. I believe people can see my screen. So this is my on-prem BDRShield on-prem management console. Okay, so this is how the product is going to be looking now. Previous users, this is a new UI change and there's a lot more inside. So I'm just logging in with the default username and password. This is a software basically on BDRShield on-premises is a software, but also we have BDRShield Cloud Console, that is a SaaS one. So I'll show you all that. Okay. The main thing regarding the alerts and stuffs which I said, you have an intuitive dashboard now. So that is a dashboard for your infrastructure view. So this gives you how many details that you have, and it's all clickable. Okay, and you can view the details from here. And you all have the protection overview. This gives you the protection status lively. Okay, so this is a live protection status. If I say there is one failure, and this failure is again on servers and endpoints, so that is where your failure is marked. Okay, so if I click on it, it will show you why this failure is being done. Okay, so that resale is also here. This is the backup gaps. So for the past 2 days, you can even change it to past week or something, or last 24 hours, or however you need. So for the past 2 days, there has been a gap. That is, one particular server or endpoint has not been taken a backup properly. So that is being marked here. So no backup has run. Maybe the machine would have been disconnected. So we can check on that detail as well. Okay. And no successful backups. That is because of the failure. So that has been a failure. So this was on September 13th. After that, last backup was September 13, 2023. After that, no backups have gone. So that is why even for the last 2 days, this was a failure. Now, if there is any current activity or current job in progress, it will be listed down in this section. And you have the 24 hours detailing also to be shown here. So if there is any failure, it is across the failure. Okay, this window has been failed. You can see why this has been failed as well. So all these is a major one. So that is why I said you should have, it should not be a silent backup, because silent backup will have issues. Okay, so make sure you have this intuitive dashboard to be useful. You can also have these reports to be viewed, which you can even set email alerts, notification, and even the audit logs for your internal auditing purposes. You can have this. Okay, so this will help you. First point is that. Then you can manage everything from one single console, which I said centralized management console, which includes the servers, virtualization host for VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox, KVM over it, servers and endpoints for Windows, Linux, and Mac, SaaS applications like Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, databases like SQLs, MySQL, PostgreSQL. So this is again an agent base, so you have to install an agent respectively. You have the NAS. So even if there is a NAS machine that you wanted to configure a backup for, you just install the agent on a machine that has an access to NAS, and you can try taking a backup. You have the cloud workloads backup for AWS and Azure, that could also be taken a backup. And here's a backup repository. So backup repository is where you choose to store your data. So as I said, this on-prem, you have your own options like block storage and object storage. Block is all your local storages. So here you can add your storage. It could be your local drives like this, whatever you have already attached, or it could be some of your network drives, which you can add it up from here. Like network drives can be your NAS drive or SAN, whatever it is. You can just add that up here and use it. If you're using any hardware assisted duplication like storage appliances like Dell Data Domain, you can disable compression and encryption, and you can use that as your storage repository. That's for your on-prem repositories. And you also have object storage. That's your own cloud storage. It could be your Amazon S3, your own S3 compatibles. It could be your own Azure Blob storage or any of your Google Cloud storage. In S3 compatible, it could be a Wasabi or MinIO, whatever it is, and you have immutability feature for that as well. So you can enable the immutability feature. ensuring the warm principle. Okay, so those are your repositories. This you can choose while configuring a backup. You can choose, like for example, if I choose to configure a file and folder backup, I can just give a backup job name. I'm choosing like this server. So this is architecture. So this server means the backup console. So all the agents will write the data to the backup console and then write the data to the storage. If this is local agent, the agent itself gets a privilege. It's an agent-centric model where agent will write the data directly to the pointed storage. So that's something that we have. And backup repository, here while configuring the backup, you can choose for each and every backup, you can choose either backup repository to be block or object. Okay, now in that case you can select which repository you want to deposit this backup data to. Here you are selecting the host. The same way for VMs, you will be selecting the VMs. For disk image backup, you'll be selecting the disks of the machine. Now for files and folders, if it's something like a path, if I want to add, I can just add it as a path, or I can just go forward to list down as trees. I can just list it down as a tree, select any particular file or folder that I wanted to take a backup, add that tab and proceed further. Okay, next here I can filter, like this extension based backup we call it as. So you can include or exclude such options. If I just need a PDF file among that complete the file folders that I've selected, PDF or text file, I can add something of that sort. So only these will be taken a backup, leaving the rest. Okay, so that's the importance of extension-based backups. You don't have to back up the whole system in that case. Next is the pre-post scripts. So if there is something that task that you wanted to perform before taking a backup, like pre-script can be used for scanning your data before taking a backup. So that can be done. You can add a pre-script or a post-script for that purpose. You have the frequency. So which I said, the minimum RPO is from every 15 minutes in BDRShield, which you can raise it up for hourly basis, daily, even in 24 hours, how frequently you want to schedule a backup. And it's an incremental type of backup. So first backup will be a full backup followed by incrementals. You can even range it up to weekly, monthly, or set a priority like after a backup job, or even you can have a manual backup. So whenever you require, you can go for a manual backup. That is also possible. Apart from the initial full backup, if at all you need any additional full backup, you can choose the additional full backup settings here. Proceed further. You have two types of retention. Basically, for file folder level, you have incremental retention as well as deleted file retention. So in this, both version based and time based retentions are available for you. So here's where you decide how many versions of the backup data that you want to retain in your storage repository, or how many days of versions of backup data that you want to retain in your storage repository. That's something that comes up here. Even for the deleted files, you can retain those deleted files if it has been deleted from your source for 2 months or 3 months, however you want. Next, all your data is encrypted by default and compressed, so nothing to worry. And by default, it's the advanced settings that you go. And this is the review page. This is a summary page. So you can check through what all the details that you've configured and save the backup. That's it. And recovery, will have multiple recovery options. So for file and folder level, you will have a similar file and folder level recovery, but for image level backup, you will have all these recovery options. Okay, like I can instantly boot it up as a virtual machine. If I've enabled with C and D drive, C and boot partition, obviously I can do instant boot, where a physical machine, immediately I can bring it up as a virtual machine on a targeted VMware host or on the Hyper-V. Okay, so that's something that we have. You have multiple restore options where you can restore at a file or folder level. Also, you can perform VMR. There is a cross-platform migration. So even if you have taken a VHD or VMTK, you can just convert it on the other end as a KVM file format, or Windows file format, or VMD, that is VMDK is morely for VMware file formats. That is to be used. And if there is any applications were enabled while taking a backup, you can restore the Microsoft applications granularly, similar to what you do in a file or folder level. Okay, so that's how you try having the restore options both for VM level as well as file folder level. Then you have secondary copy. So having a multiple copies is what that I mentioned previously. That's also a good term. So you can have multiple copies of your data, like a secondary copy. One primary copy, you can store it on-prem, a secondary copy in your own cloud storage. That ensures, like, even if the primary copy is affected, you can still restore your data from the secondary copy. Next, offsite DR. So what if even the complete backup server is lost? Okay, so even if the backup server is lost, you still can restore your data from your offsite DR server. So similar restore options will be there. All that you need to do for offsite DR is, in your DR site, install the managed console for the offsite DR and have a separate storage, dedicated storage for the DR purpose for there. So all your backups will be replicated once a backup job is completed to the DR site. And even if the backup server crashes down at the production site, you still can restore your data from the DR site to continue with your business. So that is where your offsite DR comes in. And tape archival is completely an archival purposes. So the primary copy is to be stored in a disk, and from there you can have a copy of that as an archival copy to be stored in tape. And this disk to tape model is supported only for image based backup, like VM level backup and disk image level backup for Windows. Okay, only for that, not for granular backups like file, folder, and databases. So only for image based backup we support this type of backups. Okay, next you have the management, where in management you have the user access, which you can control, role based access. You can have the branding feature, which we are talking about, like you can change the company name, the product name, you can change the company logo, the favy icon, even the support and documentations that is required. Okay, all the support details are something that you can change it to yours. So that's majorly for the MSPs. And for the MSPs, again, you have a tenancy feature where you can create n number of tenants with the web access privilege to them. You can add the users directly through this, and you can provide them the role-based access control like access privilege, or you can use them through the AD or LDAP. Okay, so these are the features that we literally have, and a lot more. You can even control on concurrent backup, compression settings, backup window, and this is a data integrity check which I was talking about. So this is an automated process. Once you enable, you will be able to check that details in the reports. Here's a data integrity report. So when enabled, you will have that report to be shown clearly, mentioning how what is the status, whether their data can be recovered or not. So that is the thing. I haven't enabled the data integrity here, so that is why it is not showing up. Clear? So this is the thing. And yeah, that's it on the major part. And this is a similar one you will also see in the cloud management console. I'm just showing you quickly about the cloud management console. So this is a cloud one. So this, I'm just logging in with my registered username and password. Yep. So this is my cloud management console, as I said. So here you could see the dashboard again that gives a similar detail. And in cloud, you can add servers and endpoints, SaaS applications, NAS backup, and soon the VM backup for VMware and Hyper-V will also be available. Here again, you have two storage options: block storage, object storage. In object storage, by default, you will get a cloud storage of BDR. Only when you use this storage, you will be charged. Other than that, you can use your own storage over here. Okay. And you also have the storage for block, that is your local storage, which you can use. Okay, so these are the storage options you have. Again, management console, tenant, reporting details, all that are similar. restore option is also similar as you could see in the on-prem management console. Clear? So this is something that we have in our product, and if at all people, I'll just give another 5 minutes for you all to raise your question so that we can wrap it up accordingly. I see a lot of people have joined in, so people, if you have any questions, you can just post it up in the Q&A box. Okay, we can maybe like I can answer those questions in the session itself. Otherwise, we'll send you an email with a respective answer for your questions to the register mail ID. Okay, and you can find this recording in our web page in BDRShield.com. So all that you need to do is just open a new tab. I'll show you. Yeah, so this is our website. So under the resources, you have the webinars. So if there's anything like the recordings, we'll add the recordings over here. Okay, and if you wish to have any demo, you can just get a demo here. You can request for a demo, a personalized demo for your environment. We'll be able to guide you. Otherwise, you can very well reach out to our sales to organize the demo. Okay, so yeah, maybe like I'll just conclude the session here. It was wonderful having you all in this session. A lot more people are there. My team is also answering all your questions that you have raised. And meanwhile, if there is some questions which is not answered, do not worry. We'll reach out to you through an email. And lot more thanks. And I believe the session was so useful for you. As I said, you can find its recording in our website after 48 hours. And if there is anything personalized, a demo or a request, you can always reach out to us. And I wish you, on behalf of BDRShield and Vembu team, a very happy new year, and let all your dreams and the protection for all your workloads also be very strong by this year. Okay, so hearty best wishes for everyone who have joined in this session. And thank you so much.